Chamber. A chamber is an old word for a bedroom.
The girl was tired. She went to her chamber for a nap.
Deny. To deny something is to say it is not true.
The boy denied that he broke the window.
Document. A document is an official piece of writing.
He was given an official document proving he was a citizen.
Emphasize. To emphasize is to give importance or attention to something.
She emphasized the key points by circling them in red ink.
Fever. A fever is a high body temperature that people get when they are sick.
Lydia had a high fever, so she didn't go to school.
Flu. The flu is a type of sickness that makes you feel weak or your body hurt.
Since he had the flu, he felt miserable.
Freeze. To freeze is to become very cold.
If you don't wear your coat in winter, you will freeze.
Gesture. A gesture is a movement of the hands or body.
My teacher makes a lot of gestures when she speaks.
Interrupt. To interrupt is to briefly stop someone when they are doing something.
My mother interrupted me when I was trying to listen to music.
Last. To last is to continue or go on for an amount of time.
The football match lasted for nearly 2 hours.
Likeness. Likeness means the state of being like or resemblance.
Michelle bears a strong likeness to her older sister Kate.
Moreover. Moreover means besides or in addition to something.
It's cold outside. Moreover, the wind is very strong.
Perspective. A perspective is the way you think about something.
The man's speech gave me a new perspective on our country.
Rational. When something is rational, it is normal or practical.
It is hard to think in a rational way when you are scared.
Recover. To recover is to go back to normal after something bad happens.
I hope the city will recover soon after the flood.
Rely. To rely on something or someone is to trust or depend on them.
The boy relied on his older brother to help him.
Shock. To shock people is to surprise them.
The man was shocked by the news.
Shy. When people are shy, they are nervous around people strange to them.
The girl was too shy to try out for the play.
Stare. To stare at something is to look at it for a long time.
The young couple stared into each other's eyes.
Thus. Thus means as a result or for that reason.
The sun was shining. Thus I wore my sunglasses.
Aim. An aim is a goal someone wants to make happen.
My aim is to become a helicopter pilot.
Attach. To attach is to put two things together.
I attached the socks to the clothesline to dry.
Bet. To bet is to risk money on the result of a game or a business.
How much will you bet that your horse will win?
Carriage. A carriage is a vehicle pulled by a horse.
We took a carriage ride in the park.
Classic. If something is classic, it is typical.
The athlete made a classic mistake. He started running too soon.
Commute. To commute is to travel a long distance to get to work.
I usually commute to work on the train.
Confirm. To confirm is to make sure something is correct.
Winning the game confirmed that James was a good player.
Criticize. To criticize is to say you do not like someone or something.
He criticized his wife for spending too much money.
Differ. To differ is to not be the same as another person or thing.
I differ from my brother. He is short, while I am tall.
Expense. An expense is the money that people spend on something.
She wrote down all the expenses for her trip.
Formal. If something is formal, it is done in an official way.
It was a formal dinner, so we wore our best clothes.
Height. Height is how tall someone or something is.
My height is 168 centimeters.
Invent. To invent something is to create something that never existed before.
My grandfather has invented some interesting things.
Junior. If someone is junior in their job, they do not have a lot of power.
When she started at the company, she was only a junior manager.
Labor. Labor is the act of doing or making something.
Building the house took a lot of labor.
Mechanic. A mechanic is someone who fixes vehicles or machines.
We took the car to the mechanic to be fixed.
Prime. If something is prime, it is the most important one.
Dirty air is a prime cause of illness.
Shift. To shift to something is to move into a new place or direction.
He shifted to the other side of the table to eat his breakfast.
Signal. A signal is a sound or action that tells someone to do something.
The coach blew his whistle as a signal to begin the game.
Sincere. When people are sincere, they tell the truth.
He sounded sincere when he apologized to me.
Ability. Ability is the quality of a person being able to do something well.
His swimming abilities let him cross the entire lake.
Agriculture. Agriculture is the growing of food and animals.
The farmer studied agriculture in college.
Cartoon. A cartoon is a funny drawing.
Sometimes people draw cartoons for the newspaper.
Ceiling. The ceiling is the top of a room.
He painted the ceiling with a special roller.
Convince. To convince someone means to make them sure of something.
She convinced me to buy the house.
Curious. When you are curious about something, you want to know more about it.
I opened up the clock because I was curious about how it worked.
Delay. To delay means to wait to do something.
I was delayed at the airport for over 2 hours.
Diary. A diary is a book in which people write their personal experiences.
I do not let anybody read my diary.
Element. An element of something is a particular part of it.
Tackling an opponent is Johnny's favorite element of American football.
Faith. When people have faith in something, they believe in it and trust it.
The sick girl had faith in doctors. She knew they would make her better.
Grain. Grain is food crops such as wheat, corn, rice, or oats.
The farmer planted 2 fields of grain this year.
Greet. To greet someone means to meet and welcome them.
When my friend came over, I greeted him at the door.
Investigate. To investigate means to search for something or learn about it.
The detective went to investigate the crime.
Joy. Joy is a feeling you get when you are really happy.
I love baseball. I feel joy when I play.
Label. A label is a tag that tells about something.
The label on the back of your shirt will tell you what size it is.
Monk. A monk is a religious person who lives a simple life.
The monks knew a lot about religion.
Odd. When something is odd, it is unusual.
Her cat is odd. It walks on 2 feet.
Pause. To pause means to stop doing something for a while.
Since she was so hungry, she paused to make a snack.
Priest. A priest is a person trained to perform religious duties.
The priest taught us about God.
Profession. A profession is a person's job.
He loved sailing, so he chose to work on ships as a profession.
Adopt. To adopt someone is to make them as part of one's own family.
The girl was adopted by the couple when she was 3.
Beg. To beg is to ask for something one really wants.
The man begged for some money.
Beyond. If A is beyond B, A is farther away.
John's house is beyond that lake.
Costume. A costume is a set of clothes people wear for a particular occasion.
The woman wore a mask with her costume.
Exclaim. To exclaim is to say something loudly, usually due to being excited.
Look at her dress, Sarah exclaimed.
Extend. To extend is to stretch out or reach.
The boy extended his hand to catch the ball.
Fool. A fool is someone who makes unwise choices.
The girl was a fool for playing too close to the water.
Forbid. To forbid is to tell someone they cannot do something.
My father forbids watching TV while we're eating dinner.
Illustrate. To illustrate is to show something by drawing a picture.
The executive illustrated the decreasing profits of the company.
Indeed. Indeed means truly or really.
The birthday party was indeed fun last night.
Interpret. To interpret is to explain what something means.
The woman interpreted what her coworker was trying to say.
Kindly. If people do something kindly, they do it in a nice way.
The stranger kindly cared for the hurt man.
Motive. A motive is the reason someone does something.
His motive for studying so hard is to get into a good college.
Nest. A nest is a place where a bird lays its eggs.
The bird laid her eggs in the nest that she made.
Origin. The origin of someone or something is where they come from.
The origin of the honey that we eat is from a beehive.
Reception. A reception is a party to welcome a person or celebrate an event.
We all danced and had a good time at the wedding reception.
Reject. To reject is to refuse something because you do not want it.
The girl rejected the broken cup.
Silence. Silence is complete quiet.
The man asked for silence while he worked on the problem.
Stream. A stream is a small river.
The boy caught a fish in the stream.
Tone. Tone is the sound of someone's voice. It shows how they feel.
My father's tone told me I had broken the rule.
Accomplish. To accomplish something means to finish it.
He accomplished his goal of running 10 miles.
Approve. To approve of something means you like it or are happy about it.
Her coworkers approved her new plan.
Approximate. Approximate means to be close to an exact amount, number, or time.
My approximate height is 2 meters.
Barrier. A barrier is something that is in your way.
The Great Wall was a barrier between China and its enemies.
Detect. To detect something means to notice or find something.
The boy ran to the kitchen when he detected the smell of cookies.
Duty. A duty is something that a person has to do.
It is parents' duty to take care of their children.
Elementary. When something is elementary, it is the first or most simple thing.
Children go to elementary school before high school.
Failure. A failure happens when you do not do something right.
My cooking ended in failure because I burned the food.
Gradual. When something is gradual, it happens slowly.
Children learn to read at a gradual pace. They do not learn right away.
Immigrant. An immigrant is a person who moves to a different country.
My parents were immigrants. They came from Poland.
Insert. To insert something means to put it in something else.
The mailman inserted the letter into the mailbox.
Instant. An instant is a very short amount of time.
A microwave oven cooks food in an instant.
Poverty. Poverty is the state of being poor.
Poverty is a problem in many countries around the world.
Pretend. To pretend means to make believe something is real.
The boy liked to pretend he was a king.
Rank. A person's rank is their place in an order of people.
The man got to the rank of captain in the Navy.
Recognition. Recognition is getting praise from other people.
The hero got recognition for his brave deed.
Refrigerate. To refrigerate something means to make it cold.
Grocery stores refrigerate fruit to make it last long.
Rent. Rent is the money people pay to someone to live in a certain place.
To live in this house, I have to pay rent at the start of each month.
Retire. To retire is to leave a job, usually because of old age.
My father is 65 years old. He is about to retire from work.
Statistic. A statistic is a number that tells a fact about something.
The statistic showed that we did just as well this year as last year.
Astronaut. An astronaut is a person that goes into outer space.
The astronaut was walking on the moon.
Awake. When you are awake, you are not asleep.
Sometimes I lay awake in bed because I am not tired.
Courage. When you have courage, you are not afraid.
The man had the courage to touch the lion.
Float. To float is to move on top of water without sinking.
The boy's toy boat floated in the pool.
Grant. To grant something is to allow someone to have it.
The teacher granted us a break after studying hard all day.
Gravity. Gravity is the force that makes things fall to Earth.
There is no gravity in space.
Jewel. A jewel is a beautiful stone that is worth a lot of money.
A diamond is one of the most expensive jewels in the world.
Miner. A miner is a person who works in a mine.
The miner was looking for gold.
Mineral. A mineral is a type of substance found in the earth.
Rocks are made up of different kinds of minerals.
Participate. To participate is to take part in something.
The students participated in the school play.
Permission. Permission means the act of allowing the doing of something.
I have permission to drive my mom's car.
Pour. To pour a liquid means to make it come out of a container.
I poured some milk into my sister's cup.
Presence. Someone or something's presence is the fact they are there.
The presence of dark clouds meant it would rain.
Raw. If a material is raw, it is natural and has not been processed.
The company dumped raw sewage into the river.
Satellite. A satellite is something that is sent into space to get information.
The satellite was traveling around the Earth.
Scale. The scale of something is its size, especially when it is very large.
I was surprised by the scale of the buildings in the downtown area.
Skip. To skip something is to not do it.
He skipped work to get more sleep.
Stretch. To stretch is to make your arms or legs reach out.
She stretched her body before exercising.
Telescope. A telescope is a tool people use to look at the stars.
With a telescope, you can see the moon and stars easily.
Underground. When something is underground, it is below the surface of the earth.
Subway trains travel underground.
Alarm. An alarm is something that warns people of danger.
When the students heard the fire alarm, they left the building.
Apart. When people or things are apart, they are not close together.
The couple decided to live apart from each other.
Arrest. To arrest someone means to catch them for doing something bad.
The man was arrested for breaking the law.
Award. An award is a prize someone gets for doing something well.
He got an award for having the best grades in class.
Breed. A breed is a group of animals within a species.
I like small dog breeds, such as terriers.
Bucket. A bucket is a round container to put things in.
I filled the bucket with water.
Contest. A contest is a game or a race.
The girls had a contest to see who could jump higher.
Convict. To convict someone means to prove that they did a bad thing.
He was convicted of the crime and sent to jail.
Journalist. A journalist is a person who writes news stories.
The journalist took notes for a story he was writing.
Garage. A garage is the part of a house where people put their cars.
My car does not get dirty because I keep it in the garage.
Pup. A pup is a young dog.
All the girl wanted for her birthday was a pup.
Qualify. To qualify is to get, or to be declared, adequate or good enough.
He qualified to go to the final match by beating the opponent.
Repair. To repair something is to fix it.
I repaired the flat tire on my car.
Resume. To resume something means to start it again after taking a break.
I put the newspaper down to eat breakfast. Then I resumed reading.
Rob. To rob a person or place is to take their property by using force.
A thief has robbed me of my passport.
Slip. To slip means to slide and fall down.
The man slipped on the wet floor.
Somewhat. Somewhat means to some degree, but not to a large degree.
James was somewhat upset when he had to move some boxes.
Stable. When something is stable, it will not fall over.
The chair is stable. Its legs are strong.
Tissue. A tissue is a soft piece of paper people use to wipe their noses.
There was a box of tissue on the table.
Yard. A yard is the ground just outside of a person's house.
The girls jumped rope in the yard.
Alike. If two things or people are alike, they are similar in some way.
People often think my sister and I look alike.
Annoy. To annoy someone means to bother them.
The flies buzzing around John's head annoyed him very much.
Architecture. Architecture is the style or way a building is made.
The architecture of the church is amazing.
Artificial. If something is artificial, it is made to look like something natural.
That soccer field has artificial grass, but it looks real.
Chain. A chain is a series of connected loops, often used to keep things in place.
The scary dog was secured with a chain.
Distinct. If something is distinct, it is easily noticed or different from other things.
That girl has distinct pink hair.
Distinguish. To distinguish is to recognize differences between things.
The twins look exactly the same. It is hard to distinguish between them.
Dust. Dust is very tiny pieces of dirt or other matter.
In the old house, the dust was thick on the floor and chairs.
Excitement. Excitement means to feel a lot of happiness about something.
Did you see the excitement in her when the team scored?
Heal. To heal means to make a part of the body healthy again after injury.
After my broken arm heals, I can play baseball again.
Inherit. To inherit is to get something from someone who has died.
She inherited her mother's gold earrings.
Manner. A manner is the way someone does something.
His manner of not looking at someone while speaking is a bit rude.
Mount. Something mounts when it becomes stronger over time.
His fear mounted as the monster crawled out from under his bed.
Roof. A roof is the outside top part of a building.
The roof was covered with snow.
Shortage. A shortage is a lack of something you need or want.
Since there was a shortage of food, people were hungry.
Solid. If something is solid, it is made of firm material.
The safe looked to be quite solid.
Stock. A stock is a stored amount of something.
They keep a stock of rice so they'll always have something to eat.
Substance. A substance is any specific material or mixture of materials.
Water is an important substance for all living things.
Tomb. A tomb is a grave where a dead person is buried.
Their whole family is buried inside the tomb.
Wound. A wound is an injury to the body.
He had many wounds after the car accident.
Bath. A bath is water in a tub. People take a bath to get clean.
After playing in the dirt, the boy took a bath.
Bend. To bend is to move something so it is not straight.
Lee bent over and picked up the paper on the ground.
Chew. To chew is to move your mouth to break up food.
I always chew my food carefully before swallowing it.
Disabled. When a person is disabled, they cannot do what a normal person can do.
The disabled man used a wheelchair to move around.
Fantastic. If something is fantastic, it is really good.
The student did a fantastic job on his project and got an award.
Fiction. Fiction is a story that is not true.
I enjoy reading works of fiction because they are very entertaining.
Flag. A flag is a piece of colored cloth that represents something.
Our country has a beautiful flag.
Inspect. To inspect is to look at something carefully.
The mechanic inspected our car to see if it had any problems.
Journal. A journal is a type of magazine that deals with an academic subject.
Mi-young was busy working on an article for an art journal.
Liquid. A liquid is a substance that is neither solid nor gas.
Water is the most important liquid for life.
Marvel. To marvel at something is to feel surprise and interest in it.
We marveled at her excellent piano playing.
Nutrient. A nutrient is something that a living thing needs to keep it alive.
Vegetables are full of important nutrients.
Overcome. To overcome a problem is to successfully fix it.
She overcame her shyness and spoke in front of the class.
Recall. To recall something is to remember it.
She was trying to recall what she had told her friend.
Regret. To regret something is to wish that it didn't happen.
I regret that I was mean to my sister.
Soul. A soul is a person's spirit.
Some people believe that the soul lives after the body dies.
Sufficient. When something is sufficient, you have enough of it.
After eating a sufficient amount of food, I left the table.
Surgery. Surgery is medical treatment when the doctor cuts open your body.
I needed surgery to repair my leg after the accident.
Tough. If something is tough, it is difficult.
The man passed his driving test even though it was very tough.
Tube. A tube is a pipe through which water or air passes.
The pile of tubes was going to be put in the ground.
Admit. To admit something means to say that it is true.
I had to admit that I stole his idea.
Bin. A bin is a container that holds things.
He put his trash in the bin.
Bowl. A bowl is a deep round dish that holds food or liquid.
I ate a bowl of cereal for breakfast.
Cabin. A cabin is a small house made of wood.
My grandfather owns a small cabin in the country.
Cash. Cash is money in the form of paper or coins.
I was able to save up enough cash to buy my mother a gift.
Criminal. A criminal is a person who does something against the law.
The police made sure the criminal couldn't move his hands.
Dozen. A dozen is a group of 12 things.
Mom brought home a dozen donuts for us as a treat.
Elder. An elder is a person who is older than the people around them.
Uncle Ray is my elder, so I always try to be respectful.
Facial. If something is facial, it is related to a person's face.
I could tell from his facial features that he was angry.
Fence. A fence is a structure around a house or field.
The farmer put up a fence so that no one could walk on her field.
Inspire. To inspire means to make a person want to do something.
I was inspired to write a poem after watching the sunrise.
Mere. When something is mere, it is small or not important.
We lost the game by a mere 2 points.
Neat. If something is neat, it is very clean or organized well.
My sister always keeps her bedroom very neat.
Occasion. An occasion is a time when something important happens.
Her graduation was an occasion to have a good time.
Penalty. A penalty is a punishment given when someone breaks a rule or law.
I had to pay a $100 penalty for parking in the wrong spot.
Rude. When someone is rude, they are mean and not polite.
The children at the bus stop were very rude.
Settle. To settle a problem means to end it by finding a solution.
It took 3 of our best executives all day to settle the problem.
Vehicle. A vehicle is a thing that moves people or things to another place.
A ferry is a vehicle that takes people from one island to another.
Wallet. A wallet is a thing that holds money and fits in a pocket.
I keep my money in a wallet.
Yell. To yell is to say something very loudly.
The coach yelled at his team for their poor performance.
Accuse. To accuse someone of something is to blame them for doing it.
She accused her brother of breaking her computer.
Adjust. To adjust something means to change it so it is better.
He adjusted the old guitar to make it sound better.
Amuse. To amuse someone means to do something that is funny or entertaining.
The singer was very good. She amused the crowd.
Coral. Coral is the hard, colorful material formed by the shells of animals.
The diver admired the beautiful coral under the water.
Cotton. Cotton is a cloth made from the fibers of the cotton plant.
I like to wear clothes made from cotton in the summer.
Crash. To crash means to hit and break something.
There was a loud noise when the car crashed into the tree.
Deck. A deck is a wooden floor built outside of a house or the floor of a ship.
A ship will store many supplies below its deck.
Engage. To engage in something means to do it.
Dad was engaged in sawing a piece of wood in half.
Firm. When something is firm, it is solid but not too hard.
He sleeps better on a firm bed.
Fuel. Fuel is something that creates heat or energy.
Heat is the fuel that comes from fire.
Grand. When something is grand, it is big and liked by people.
The grand mountain rose high into the sky.
Hurricane. A hurricane is a bad storm that happens over the ocean.
The wind from the hurricane bent the palm tree.
Loss. A loss means the act or an instance of losing something.
I suffered a big loss while I was gambling.
Plain. If something is simple, it is plain and not decorated.
He bought a pair of plain white shoes over the weekend.
Reef. A reef is a group of rocks or coral that rise to or near the ocean.
He walked along the reef and looked at the water below.
Shut. To shut something means to close it tightly.
Please shut the door. The air outside is cold.
Strict. When someone is strict, they make sure others follow rules.
The teacher is strict. She does not let students talk in class.
Surf. To surf means to use a special board to ride on waves in the ocean.
The students went to the beach to surf during their vacation.
Task. A task is work that someone has to do.
Who has the task of building the brick wall?
Zone. A zone is an area that has different qualities from the ones around it.
Firefighters often work in danger zones.
Apology. An apology is something someone says to show that they are sorry.
After arguing with her teacher, the girl wrote the teacher an apology.
Bold. If someone is bold, they are not afraid of doing something.
The bold man climbed the high mountain.
Capture. To capture someone or something is to catch them.
James tried to capture the bubbles in his hands.
Cardinal. If a rule or quality is cardinal, then it is the most important one.
Raising your hand in the classroom before you speak is a cardinal rule.
Duke. A duke is a man of high social rank, but below a king or queen.
The duke ruled over the land.
Expose. To expose is to make known something that is hidden.
He took off his shirt, exposing his costume.
Guilty. If people feel guilty, they feel bad for what they did.
I felt guilty for taking my sister's cookies.
Hire. To hire someone is to pay them money to work for you.
We hired a man to paint our house.
Innocent. If someone is innocent, they are not guilty of a crime.
The judge said that the woman was innocent of the crime.
Jail. Jail is a place where criminals go to be punished.
The thief was caught and sent to jail for 10 years.
Minister. A minister is an important person in government with many duties.
The Minister of Education controls the country's schools.
Ordinary. If someone or something is ordinary, they are not special in any way.
Today was just an ordinary day. Nothing unusual happened.
Permanent. If something is permanent, it lasts for a long time or forever.
We don't know if Aunt Mildred's visit will be a permanent one.
Preserve. To preserve is to protect something from harm.
Dad sprayed a chemical on the house to help preserve its looks.
Pronounce. To pronounce is to say the sounds of letters or words.
Young children often have trouble pronouncing words right.
Resemble. To resemble someone is to look like them.
The baby resembles his father a great deal.
Symptom. A symptom of a bad condition or illness is a sign that it is happening.
Sneezing and a high fever are symptoms of the common cold.
Tobacco. Tobacco is a plant whose leaves are smoked, such as in cigarettes.
The tobacco in cigarettes is bad for your health.
Twin. Twins are two children born at the same time.
My sister and I are twins. We look exactly the same.
Accompany. To accompany other people means to join them or go with them.
My brothers accompanied me to the movie.
Bare. When something is bare, it is plain. It has no covering.
He likes to walk around in his bare feet.
Branch. A branch is the part of a tree with leaves.
The monkey was hanging from a branch on the tree.
Breath. A breath is the air that goes into and out of one's lungs.
You can't take a breath underwater.
Bridge. A bridge is something that is built over a river so people can cross it.
The old bridge fell into the river.
Cast. To cast something means to throw it.
The fisherman cast his line into the water.
Dare. To dare means to be brave enough to try something.
He dared to jump out of the airplane and skydive.
Electronic. When something is electronic, it uses electricity to do something.
I like having electronic devices such as an MP3 player.
Inn. An inn is a place where travelers can rest and eat.
The visitor got a room at the inn.
Net. A net is a bag made of strong thread. It is used to catch animals.
The boy caught butterflies in his net.
Philosophy. A philosophy is a way to think about truth and life.
My philosophy is, live and let live.
Pot. A pot is a deep round metal container used for cooking.
Don't touch the pot on the stove. It's hot.
Seed. A seed is the hard part of a plant or fruit that trees grow from.
I planted the seed in the dirt, hoping that it would grow into a tree.
Sharp. When something is sharp, it has a thin edge that cuts things easily.
That knife is very sharp. Be careful not to hurt yourself.
Sort. A sort of something is a type of it.
What sort of instrument do you want to learn to play?
Subtract. To subtract means to take something away.
We learned how to subtract numbers from each other in class.
Tight. When something is tight, it is fixed or fastened firmly in place.
The knots were too tight to untie.
Virtual. If something is virtual, then it is very close to being true or accurate.
Because he's popular, Joe is the virtual leader of the group.
Weigh. To weigh something means to see how heavy it is.
The little dog weighed exactly 3 kilograms.
Whisper. To whisper means to say very quietly.
We have to whisper in the library so people can focus on reading.
Abstract. If ideas are abstract, they are based on general ways of thinking.
The idea of beauty is abstract, and changes over time.
Annual. If something is annual, it happens once a year.
The only time I see my aunts and uncles is at our annual family picnic.
Clay. Clay is a type of heavy, wet soil used to make pots.
She made a bowl out of the clay.
Cloth. Cloth is material used to make clothes.
His shirt is made of a very soft type of cloth.
Curtain. A curtain is a cloth hung over a window or used to divide a room.
She opened the curtains to let light into the room.
Deserve. To deserve is to be worthy of something as a result of one's actions.
The dog deserved a bone for behaving very well.
Feather. Feathers are the things covering birds' bodies.
That bird has orange feathers on its chest.
Fertile. If land is fertile, it is able to produce good crops and plants.
The farmer grew many vegetables in the fertile soil.
Flood. A flood is an event in which water covers an area which is usually dry.
After 3 days of rain, there was a flood in the city.
Furniture. Furniture is the things used in a house, such as tables and chairs.
His living room only had a few simple pieces of furniture.
Grave. A grave is the place where a dead person is buried.
We visit our grandfather's grave each year.
Ideal. If something is ideal, it is the best that it can possibly be.
This house is an ideal place for my family. It has everything we need.
Intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to learn and understand things.
Because of his high intelligence, he finished school early.
Nowadays. If something happens nowadays, it happens at the present time.
In the past, people walked everywhere. Nowadays, they use cars.
Obtain. To obtain is to get something you want or need.
After I passed the test, I obtained my driver's license.
Religious. When something is religious, it has to do with religion.
The holy man spoke about religious topics.
Romantic. When something is romantic, it has to do with love.
The young couple went to see a romantic movie.
Shell. A shell is a hard covering that protects the body of some sea creatures.
There were many pretty shells on the beach.
Shore. A shore is the edge of a large body of water.
All of the boats were floating near the shore.
Wheel. A wheel is a round thing on a vehicle that turns when it moves.
A car has 4 wheels.
Appeal. To appeal to someone is to be interesting or attractive to them.
Sleeping all day appeals to me, but I have to go to school.
Assume. To assume something is to think that it is true, even with no proof.
I assume you are both familiar with this plan?
Borrow. To borrow something is to take it and then give it back later.
Can I borrow a pencil to use today? I'll give it back to you tomorrow.
Client. A client is a person or business that pays another to do a service.
She has many clients who enjoy coming to her salon.
Downtown. The downtown is the center of most cities.
The downtown is filled with many tall buildings.
Dull. If something is dull, it is not exciting.
The movie was very dull. I fell asleep watching it.
Embarrass. To embarrass someone is to make them feel ashamed or foolish.
He was embarrassed when he couldn't remember her name.
Fare. A fare is an amount of money paid to use a bus, train, or taxi.
Since he is a senior, my grandfather pays a low fare for the bus.
Former. Former describes something that used to be, but is not anymore.
The hotel, a former castle, was built over 200 years ago.
Formula. A formula is a set mathematical way or method of solving a problem.
I learned a new formula that may help us with our problem.
Found. To found a company or organization means to start it.
The Pilgrims founded one of the first colonies in the United States.
Invest. To invest means to use money in a way that will bring a profit later.
I invested money in a new building that should bring me a profit.
Loan. A loan is the act of lending something, usually money.
I got a loan from the bank.
Practical. If something is practical, it is useful in normal life.
Learning English is practical. You can use it in many places.
Quarter. A quarter is 25 cents.
He paid a quarter for the candy.
Salary. A salary is how much money a person makes at his or her job.
He got a new job with a better salary.
Scholarship. A scholarship is money given to one so they can go to school.
I got a scholarship to help me pay for university.
Temporary. If something is temporary, it exists for a short time.
This car is only temporary. I'll get a new one soon.
Treasure. A treasure is a collection of valuable things, especially jewels or gold.
They became very rich when they found the buried treasure.
Urge. To urge someone is to try very hard to get them to do something.
He urged them to believe his story.